Jeff Ray here once again for Stupid Light Photography. Got something a little bit interesting for you this afternoon that I wanted to tell you guys a bit about because as anyone knows who knows me, you know that I love to play with the toys, and we are all about trying to have some interesting things to show you guys. And I've run across a quirky problem which has only been documented in a few places in some of the websites. Fred Miranda's site is an example that deals with a product that I really genuinely love and believe in, and that is the TechArt Pro adapter for the Sony line of the A6 series from the 6300 and forward, so that would be the A6300, the A6500, and the A7R2 series as well. It will also work, I think, with the A7S2 as well. But this is a device that allows you to take natively a Leica lens, or by the use of an adapter, a variety of other lenses from other manufacturers, and make a manual focus lens into an autofocus lens on your Sony using phase detection. So it works really, really well for that purpose. But it has a couple of quirks. And one of the biggest ones I'm going to demonstrate for you right now, and I'm hoping that a recent Sony firmware upgrade that occurred this week will actually address that issue, because they claim in the literature that it does. We're going to see if it does. But here's the issue. You have your TechArt Pro adapter here, which has a Sony mount on the back, and you'll notice, if I can hold this close enough to the camera, you'll see those contact pins on the bottom, perhaps right there. And that actually is what does the magic. The electronics inside this unit talk to the Sony and actually cause this front plane right here to move in and out about 4.5 millimeters, allowing it to focus a lens without sending that information to your manual, or for that matter, autofocus lens from another manufacturer. Now I have here with me one of the Voigtlander lenses because I really love these. They're very small, they're relatively lightweight for what they give you, and they're fast lenses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mount this M-mount, this Leica M-mount Voigtlander lens on my TechArt Pro so that it's mounted like so. And then I'm going to mount it on the Sony. And this works beautifully. And I've got some photos I'll show you guys later where I've shot with this yesterday and got some amazing work off of it. You'll notice at the top I also have the Godox transmitter for this flash over here that you'll see to my left. This works beautifully with high-speed sync. It works fantastic with the native lenses, fantastically I should say. But it allows us to do some amazing things there. The downside to it is with any transmitter, I'm kind of picking on the Godox here, but it's actually true for the Pocket Wizards. It's also true for the Pixel King units as well, because it's an issue with the Sony transmitting this data through the flash connector. There's a lag, and it's a very appreciable lag. It's almost a full second lag between pushing the trigger for setting off the photograph and having the flash trigger. And it also ties in with the shutter, so that when you push the button to depress it, the shutter doesn't trigger, and neither does the flash for about a full second. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now by putting the camera up here, turning it on, and you'll hear that it does activate the pivoting function, the actual movement of that lens in and out, preset the lens. This is using, by the way, the latest TechArt Pro firmware, which is version 5 as of today. This is towards the end of June of 2017. So this is the latest version 5.0 firmware on here. I'm one revision back right now purposely on the Sony A7R2. I have not yet updated it. I'm going to show you guys what this does right now, then run the update, and then come back and show you guys how that changes things if it does. But if you'll notice, I'm going to depress the button. You should be able to see my finger here moving. I'm going to press that button right now, and you see how long that lag was. Let's do that again, okay? I'm going to depress the button. I've already pushed it. And I promise you, I'm not using any kind of timer or any other function on the camera. This is currently set up right now just for high-speed sync, as it normally should be. It's set up to do it in wireless or in fill flash mode. It works either way, the same way with that lag. And it happens anytime you use a non-native lens. Now, if I switch this lens out for instance, my other favorite lens, which is, of course, the G-Master series. This is the 24-70. And I put the 24-70 on here and do the same thing. You'll notice it's instantaneous. I push the button. Let me see if I can get you to see that. And the flash goes off. But if I swap back out for the TechArt Pro, and this is not a dig at this adapter because it's the only adapter of its type that'll even do what this does. But when I push that back, put that back on there, push the button again, and you can see that unacceptable lag. So I'm going to go ahead and do the update, firmware update on all three of my bodies I have with me here. We're currently on vacation right now, not really, we're actually on a working trip, And we have with me my A6300, which has been updated, my A6500, which also has a firmware update, and the A7R2. For the sake of brevity, I'm only going to do this with the A7R2. So I'll be right back in just a few minutes, and we'll tell you and show you if, in fact, this latest firmware upgrade from Sony makes the difference we're hoping it makes. So till then, back at you. All right, I'm back. And for better or for worse, when I did the update, and the firmware originally on the A7R2 was version 3.30. When I did the update, it took it to version 4.0, which is the latest version of the firmware that Sony is currently has on release. And one of the release notes does indicate that it takes care of a lag between the depression of the shutter release and the actual firing of the shutter and the flash, but they don't go into a lot of details as to what lenses that's for or for any other circumstance on that. So I'm not able to find a lot of details. I've just completed the update, just powered on the computer. Let's see if that actually works. So the cool thing is when I powered on the camera, rather, I said computer, I powered on the camera. I've just powered it up and all the displays are exactly the same with the addition of some additional options on the left-hand side of the screen, which the firmware update does indicate are new features that are included with this firmware. So I'm going to have to read up on those a little bit and see if I can demonstrate some of those new features for you guys as well. But otherwise, everything else remains the same. The high-speed sync notification on the back here, and I'm not sure if that's going to show, is still present. The indication that it's using the wireless means of communication is also active as it was before. It is still set for single-shot autofocus as it was before, and it still has mounted onto the Voigtlander 35 using the TechArt adapter, and that TA2 there indicates it's my second adapter from TechArt. So everything is exactly as it was, just having initiated that firmware update. I might also add that update did require about 12 to 14 minutes, so be patient while it goes through that update. I'm not certain if it would be any faster without the lens and this remote flash transmitter on the camera, but I don't believe that had anything really to do with it since it is a USB connection, as it always has been, and works very, very well as it always has. So we're successfully there. The camera boots up properly. Everything seems to be working functionally. Let's try that same test a moment ago as we had before. I have my flash unit on, my head active, and let's push that button and see what happens. How about that? That is cool, guys. They have fixed the problem. So I can report with some confidence that at least with this lens combination using the TechArt Pro, and you can see it go through that focus there. You can hear that focusing motor working. Hopefully that will show up. Once it comes up, you can hear the little beep that indicates it's in focus using PDAF, and the flash goes off. So I'm very pleased to report that that firmware update does that job, and that's a huge relief to those of us who are shooting with high-speed sync, particularly working in sunlight, where we're trying to get those beautiful expressions and beautiful exposures on our models' faces and our subjects' faces, that we can now do that using the TechArt Pro adapter with the remote I have here. I'm going to also attempt the same thing with the Pixel King remotes that I have, and when I return back to my home base, I'm going to try the same exact thing using the Pocket Wizards I have, and confirm that in fact it works with all three, but I have every reason to believe it will if it'll work with this because all three of them had that same exact lag issue. So until next time, I'm really excited to bring this to you guys. We're going to have some photos from yesterday's shoot, and now I'm going to go shoot with this tonight and be able to show you guys that as well tomorrow. So don't forget, as always, it's not what you take, it's what you make. So make it matter and make it yours. Until next time, this is Jeff Ray for Steeped in Light. Catch you next time.